Satisfying afternoon, Paul?
Yeah, really pleased with the lads. Every game asks different questions of you, imposes different threats. So thought the lads dealt with the threat really well. The back line were pretty flawless, really. And then I liked the feel of our midfield today. I thought Walsey was the outstanding player on the pitch. But it was backed up by the threat in behind, by the wing backs and the strikers. And I think as the third goal was probably like, we try and work it in training, but it doesn't necessarily means it's going to come off on a match day. But that was as picture perfect goal that we can score, really. So really pleased for Pato, and yeah, generally pleased for lads. It gives them a right boost. Not that they need a boost; they're in a good place, and the squad looked strong today. Made subs, so yeah. Apart from conceding, we don't really have a lot to complain about.
Ben Wiles, the both assists. We were working out which was the better one. First one was, they were just very different, weren't they? The first one was obviously the long pass. Second one was kind of getting the ball out of his feet.
Yeah, the first one was more quarterbacky, wasn't it? And I like that. And I like the fact that we've done a bit of work with the lads. We showed them some videos about there will be at home, especially if a team play the way we thought they would. If one centre half steps in with Colo, then the space for Pato is easily hittable, put it that way. It's probably a nice way to put it. So we just thought that would be a threat, and obviously Pato has a lot to do to finish him off, though. They're both the penalty I can't give him too much credit for, but the other two were really good finishes, but really smart play. And I like that bit about us, that we need to be able to, we can't just play one way. I thought we started well. Obviously Colo had a really good chance, and then we went a little bit backwards and sideways that drove me insane a little bit. We had 3 throw-ins in the final third, and every one we went virtually back to Craig, which isn't what we want, really. We want to be a bit more, not gung-ho, but a bit more forward-thinking. But then, apart from that, I thought most of the time we were playing forward, trying to get in, and we might have, in fairness, I don't think we'd have been flattered if we'd have got another couple.
I'm Callum Patterson. I think that now means he's got the most goals and assists combined
in the world.
In the world this
year. Yeah, okay.
There's the last 25 years. In League Two this year.
Yeah.
So I think Michael Cheek at Bromley was top before today. So Callum Patterson has told us that he feels that there's a lot more to come from him, and he's not wasn't overly happy, but he still did contribute a lot, and obviously.
Yeah, his work rate is phenomenal. I agree. I still think there's a lot more in him. And we should get a lot more out of him. In fairness, though, a lot of times he's in great positions and we don't pick the final ball. There was one second half I remember where I think John just took an extra touch. If he just put that ball in early, like he's in the middle of the 6. So there's loads of instances where as a group we can get better, but really pleased for Pato. I'm pleased. Obviously I banged the drum with getting him in. I'm not taking credit for that. I just mean that it's good when you see players come in, settle in quite well. The lads have took to him. He's quirky, which I like, and he's a real good, forefront of our team. The problem is that it's not a problem, but I'm always thinking I can't keep playing him every minute of every game. But you also know that when you take him off, you become smaller, and in them tighter games, it's very difficult to get him off the pitch because you need him for defensive duties as well. But he deserves all the credit he gets. He's a great lad, and I think his work ethic this season is. Deserved of more goals, really.
Aaron Collins had that one chance. He worked hard today, didn't he? But he just that one. You don't think that early. It's going to be one of those days. But that chance was a good one early on. Wasn't it?
I did think that because I can catastrophise like nobody's business. I just said to Rich that we could go the next 90 minutes and not create such a gilt-edged chance. And weirdly, and people say this all the time, it might have come too soon. And that sounds a bit weird, but it was like the second minute or something. So, and it was good play. And I thought Geff down the right, especially, was putting good delivery, and I just thought we had a really good energy about our team. There's obviously competition for places, which helps. And the lads this week, we had 2 tactical days, Thursday and Friday, against the reserves, if you know what I mean. That sounds an awful thing to say, but the yellows, and the yellows have been outstanding. So that keeps the first teamers on their toes for this week, and we were hoping for a performance like that today. So it's nice when. Credit to all the coaches and everyone who works behind the scenes that everything sort of paid off.
Defensively sound for most part, but then obviously one mistake leads to a good finish actually for them. But that would disappoint you, I'd imagine.
Yeah, massively. I don't know if you could hear me from where I was raging. Threw my bottle down. The last time I threw my bottle down was in the other dugout, and I got my only booking in my career for that. So luckily no one saw it. But yeah, I was disappointed with that. I didn't know if we were showboating. I've been told we weren't. It was accidental. That's good. I never embrace showboating. That would ruin my mental state. There would be massive consequences if I thought we were playing flicky, tricky stuff. So I've been led to believe that weren't the case, which is good. I'll watch it back. But yeah, generally speaking, I thought Craig deserved his clean sheet, didn't have a lot to do, came for crosses, pretty neat, distribution was really good. So yeah, I'm disappointed for him really, but yeah, can't have too many complaints considering we scored 5.
Curtis Nelson has just, I mean, you would have expected him to just slot in, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, that's the joy of signing players that you know, because there isn't like this whole, needs to settle in, needs to get to know the manager, needs to get to know the coaches. It's like, look, it's just a drag and drop, in it really. The same with Wilesy. I'm not surprised that Wilesy's an outstanding talent, and yeah, there'll be a statue outside the ground for me when I leave because I convinced him to come. He's genius. Yeah, so I think that we have some real talent on the pitch and depth on the pitch and off the pitch, and that helps. However, it's just one game of however many left, so I'm not getting carried away with myself. But I did like the way we played today. I thought we were a bit more athletic. I did think we were direct at times, which asked like more difficult questions. And in this league, if you can ask the defenders a lot of questions and put a lot of crosses in, hopefully you get your rewards.
Luke Offer doesn't get too many goals. Danny Crowley gets even less. But Danny Crowley probably would have expected to have got more after 13 months in an MK Dons shirt, but good for both of them, certainly the latter, to get on the score sheet.
Yeah, Offie's was an absolute net ripper, yeah, so I was pleased with him. I didn't know who scored at the time. I thought it was Scott Hogan, but it's nice for Offie. Like, he's been, I mean, he must have nearly played every minute of every game, Offie. And he's playing out of position twice because he's really a midfielder, and he's playing left side centre half, which no one wants to do with the right foot. So, and I thought he was good today, putting balls in behind. And but yeah, really pleased for Dan. Dan, in shooting in the warm-up, was electric. And he actually said to me, look, Gaff, you need a goal today, you've got to put me on. And I was like, oh, I love that. So I pretend I don't, but deep down I'm thinking, yeah. So yeah, pleased for him. He got a goal today. And obviously, like all the players are, if they don't start, they're disappointed. But you know, their attitude here has been spot on with all the lads, and they understand how it is, which is good.
Up to third.
Yeah. Still, I can't look at the league and not keep thinking about the 2 points we dropped at home to Chelsea. It just drives us all insane. But every team could say that. So every team would have 10 more points if they went over the disasters they've had. But yeah, I think the results have been reasonably kind today, which is good. And all you can do is look after your own business. So obviously we've got another home game Tuesday night that we need to prepare for. Giving the lads a victory Sunday, which they get every week, so that's good. And yeah, and hopefully we can have a level of performance again. I know obviously Salford narrowly beat them today, 1-0, and they'll obviously improve. And they've brought some acquisitions in over this window, so it'll be a tough game, and we'll have to be as good. And if we could get, over the course of this week, if we could get a 9-point week, then we'll look handsome.
Yeah, stringing those wins together has probably been the Achilles heel this year, would you say? You've done 2 loads of times, but getting that third, fourth has just been the problem. Yeah, and I looked at the last 6 games. I think we've won 3, drawn 2, lost 1, and the one we lost was at Colchester last minute, which is inexcusable. We shouldn't have lost that. We drew one of them against Chelsea. We shouldn't have drawn that. So it's just a little bit, and I don't want to keep looking back in the past. You can only live in the day you're in, I know, but I feel like our form, considering our performances or our point tally, should be higher, but I would say that. However, I'm normally pessimistic, not optimistic, but if I'm fair to the lads, I think we're in a good place. We just need to keep healthy and happy, and like no one's going to go and win the next 20 games, I know that, but we've just got to put ourselves in a position to get maximum points. I don't want draws. I want, I'd rather win, lose than win, draw, obviously. So so we'll prepare again for Tuesday night, and then we've obviously got a tough one at Grimsby at the weekend. There's still a lot of players to come back, aren't there? Collar, Hep, Murphy, obviously Mendes Lang and Wilson are a bit further away, but there's good 4 or 5 to come back, is it? Yeah, well, Rush and Joe have been snipping at the heels. They were probably, fingers crossed, for a suspension or an injury today, so they'll be disappointed.
And Kane's just joked about the fact we've got a really good March transfer window this year because we'll have Kane, Mendes and probably Collar back. So that's not the worst to welcome back. But yeah, most of them I think are really match fit now, which is great. And you know, we've been here a while, we've been as a group a long time now, so everyone gets it. And that's why I always argue about not argue, but my point is when it's questioned about, we could sign him, he's better than him, we can sign him, he's better than him. But the January window, if you haven't got much wrong, you don't need to fiddle with it greatly. I just thought, the additions of Nelson, Wilesy have obviously improved the starting 11, but I don't think we have a great deal wrong. We've got a tight group, which is essential because we're going to hit, sticky patches on the way in. But if we keep the group together and healthy, we give ourselves a good chance.
Thank you.
I think it's May 2022 that MK Dons last had a guy who got a hat-trick. But shows how rare they are, but also shows, how tough it is to come by, and Callum Patterson fully earned it today.
Yeah, excellent. Like I said, his finishing was very impressive, and that they are rare because that's the first one he's got. So, in fairness, he spent half his career playing right back, so that doesn't surprise me. But it was fitting. It's nice that you can take him off as well because, like I said, I know the best players play all the games, but if you don't need to take any risks, we didn't have to. So, so he got a penalty, a right foot outside the box, and a left foot curler, which, in all fairness, I see him do never in training. So that was the most surprising, I think.
I don't know if you're one for making statement wins, but it feels like today might be one. A lot of teams will be looking at this result and going, MK Dons might have found the formula all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm not in for statement wins. I'm more in for wins that helps me and my wife's anxiety levels during the game, because she'll say at least I could enjoy it the last 10 minutes. But a lot of the wins we've had have been by one goal, and there's always that fear something's going to happen. So I just thought, obviously scoring so well early on, we just probably had a bit more personality on the ball, which was good, and the lads get confidence from it. Hopefully this doesn't come across as arrogant. I don't really care what anyone else thinks outside of these four walls, if you know what I mean. So if the lads get confidence from it, that's great. If it affects or other people look at it, then I have no part to play in that, obviously. It's just about the lads getting confidence and seeing like the fruits of their labour. They've been coached well this week, I think, and they've took information on well this week, and then you get a performance like that. So they're the things that I like.
We've stood here a few times when it's been 2-0 at half time and you want to put the game to bed, and it's been a little bit nervy towards end of games, but I think getting that third one really sort of made that so much more comfortable for you, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if I was in the other dugout, other dressing room, and it was 2-0 at half time, I would just say to the lads, look, you get the next goal, it's a problem. And in fairness, even though they scored at 4, was it at the time?
Yeah.
It went 4-1. If that would have been 2 and they'd have got 2-1 and they'd brought subs on, they'd have thought, we'll throw the kitchen sink at it. So we're fortunate that we conceded the goal at the time we did, not earlier in the game. That is true, and games are always about emotion and swing and confidence and feel of the match. But generally speaking, I thought the lads played well enough to be comfortable today. And I have much respect for the other dressing room, the other team. They've got some really good players. There's a couple of them I really like. So I think the lads, went to task really well.
Thanks, Paul.
No worries, thanks.